I'm miserable. And Ron Placone's here. You can hear him. You can't see him.
Howdy, howdy.
So I remember a lot of these videos are starting off like this. I remember when a Jagoff nightclub comedian said that Donald Trump would be the impetus for a progressive wave. So that was my position. 2 years ago, we were saying that and took a lot of heat for it. Still do. People still attack us for saying that. Even though there's like 40, well, the Speaker of the House, the Paul Ryan is retiring when he has complete control of government. Why would you do that? 40 other Republican in the Congress are retiring when they have complete control of government. So there's that. But then there's also this. This is from E.J. Dionne, by the way. And this was printed in Truthdig. E.J. Dionne is a Washington Post columnist, and he's a real establishment guy. I would think he would consider him. He's a liberal. He's not a progressive. And you know what liberals are: 10% to the right in the good times,
10% to the
left and best of times, and 10% to the right when it affects them personally.
Phil Oaks. Yep.
So this is called the best thing to happen to the progressive movement, and it's a picture of Trumpy. That's what that is. And here's what he says. The upshot, I'll just give you a little bit from this. He says the upshot is a vicious cycle that could be disastrous for the Republican Party this fall. That could be disastrous for the Republican Party this fall. So far, Trump has failed to stir his base, but he has become unintentionally one of the most effective organizers of progressive activism and commitment in the country's history. That's E.J. Dionne saying that. Now, I'm sure there's a lot of Jagoffs out there who probably smear him for that. No, they won't. They'll go, oh, that makes sense. But for some reason, when we said this 2 frickin' years ago, people smeared the shit out of us. That you weren't allowed to say that. Weren't allowed to say that. Other people had predicted that he would destroy the Republican Party. And so I also agreed with that it was likely to happen. And well, now 40 people are resigning. Now we got Democrats winning seats in Wisconsin. We opened that they never won. So things are on the move. We have people are saying there's going to be a blue wave. We'll see. Revulsion at Trump is now the driving force in American politics, and this petrifies the traditional GOP. This is E.J. Dionne saying that. So it's okay because he's from the Washington Post and everything.
Can I add that?
Yeah, go ahead.
Another thing this show has said a number of times was pin Trump to the Republicans.
Yes.
Stop making it out like he's some outlier because his ugly policies are just Republican policies. And when you make it out like he's some outlier, you're actually helping the GOP cause. We've been saying that. Finally people are catching up.
When Nancy Pelosi says stuff like, oh, I always long for the days of George Bush, you're helping Trump when you say that. And you're helping the Republicans when you say that. Because what the Democrats are supposed to do is pin Trump to the Republicans. Just like when the Republicans run for Congress in Ohio, they don't run against their opponent. They run against Nancy Pelosi. You see what I'm talking about? And that's what, in fact, all the down ballot Democrats told Hillary Clinton during the campaign, please don't separate Trump from the rest of the Republicans. And she said, I'm doing it anyway. And she did it. So responding to the outcome of last week's elections in Wisconsin, oh, here we are. A candidate backed by Democrats won an open state Supreme Court seat for the first time since 1995. The normally loyal Republicans at the Wall Street Journal's editorial page took off the gloves. And here we go. If Mr. Trump is the main issue on Election Day in November, the paper wrote, all the evidence now points to an electoral wipeout. Like President Obama's in 2010, this time against the Republicans. Now, just imagine if Hillary Clinton was president. The Republicans would be adding to their majorities in the state houses, in the House, and in the Senate. And the only thing Hillary Clinton would be able to get done is appoint a Republican to the Supreme Court, which she wanted to do anyway. And all kind of Republicans. We'd be bombing in Syria already for sure. Well, we are bombing in Syria already. I mean, but we'd be way more ramped up. She wanted a no-fly zone. So just imagine. But now we have an actual opportunity to take back our government and wipe out the Republicans by sticking Trump to them. But the Democrats aren't going to do it, believe me. While there is some conflict in the polling about Trump, a consistent finding is that those who strongly oppose him far outnumber those who are enthusiastically for him. A Morning Consult poll last week, for example, found that overall 50% of registered voters disapprove of Trump's performance, while 41% approved. Think about that. Only 54% disapprove. That's amazing. More important is the fact, and this is what she stresses, 41% strongly disapprove of him, while only 19% strongly approve. Seen another way, the poll showed that 3/4 of those who disapprove of Trump hold intense feelings against him. I'll say that again. The poll showed that 3/4 of those who disapprove of Trump hold intense feelings against him, and less than half of those who approve of him are comparably fervent in their embrace. So people hate him way more than the people who love him love him. That's the point here. Trump's opponents are deeply motivated to put a check on his presidency. His supporters are discouraged and demobilized. Why? Because he didn't give everybody health care like he said he was going to. He said he was going to give everybody health care. He said he was going to be a non-interventionist. He's exploded the Pentagon budget, and he's ramping up the wars everywhere. People aren't happy with that. A Washington Post Kaiser Family Foundation poll released Friday brought home additional concrete results of this imbalance. It found an astonishing 1 in 5 Americans reporting that they had joined protests and rallies since the beginning of 2016, and that 70% of them disapproved of Trump.
See what happens when you take subtlety away from right-wing policy ideas?
Right?
See what happens when the subtlety goes away?
Yeah. So there you go. That's E.J. Dionne. They printed that in Truthdig. Any comment on that stuff, Sam?
I'm just, of course, people are running away from the Republican Party because they're governing like Republicans, and now they've decided, oh, you know what? I'm not comfortable with what we stand for. I think we need to leave now. So 40 of them, they're resigning. I say they're fleeing their party.
Yeah, they're fleeing.
Can I just add, it still blows my mind that some people will look at you weird when you say we're better off with Trump than Pence. People still look at it. It's just like, what, you mean you'd rather have the incompetent person that can't pass horrible policies than the competent person that can? Yes, that's what I'm saying. Why is that a crazy idea? Like they both have the same horrific policies. One's incompetent. Which would you rather have?
In fact, even Keith Olbermann admitted that probably more of the horrible right-wing policies would get passed under Pence than under Trump.
And he didn't care.
And he didn't care.
Because he's rich.
Because he's rich and it won't affect him, and Trump presses his lizard brain, so he has a personal vendetta against Trump. And this isn't about helping the country. This is about people like Keith Olbermann having a personal grudge, and they really don't care what happens to the country.
Yeah, just because Pence has a nice hairline doesn't mean that he's going to govern reasonably or for the people.
I like what our friend Helen Hong says, that Mike Pence is, even his hair is racist. She's funny. Well, there you go. Jagoff, nightclub comedian, and was 2 years ahead of E.J. Dionne. Mr. Big Smarty Pants at the Washington Post. And you see him all over the place. He's on all the Sunday talk shows and MSNBCs. And there it is. There it is. He's only 2 years behind the Jagoff nightclub comedian from the YouTube. He's only 2 years behind us. It's not a big deal. It's not a big deal.
He'll do his first open mic in 2021.
It's unbelievable how behind these guys are.
And the progressive movement terrifies both parties.
And the progressive movement and the anti-war movement. The anti-war and progressive movement terrifies both parties. That's for sure. The progressive movement terrifies the Democrats a little bit more. That's for sure. That's for sure. Okay. I have to ask you to make sure you're subscribed. It only takes a second, and then click that bell so you get a notification when we drop a video. Also, if you can become a patron, we give you hours of bonus material every week. Also, we have live shows. June 30th, we're going to be in Portland, Oregon. There's a link for tickets right there. And we're on Steam It, for Christ's sake. We're steaming it right now. Saturdays, we do a live stream on Saturdays. Every Saturday, 2 p.m. It's our Solid Chat Saturday.
Pacific Standard Time.
Pacific Standard Time. You can ask us questions, we'll answer back. Thanks for your support.